Hello and good afternoon, or some of you may have morning or other time of the day, but here in Scotland it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the information session and Q&A for the master's program Collecting and Provenance in an International Context, and I am the program convener, Minna Thurma. I convene the program and I teach 2 courses on it. Otherwise, my kind of sort of areas of expertise are landscape studies, collecting history, and particularly the arts of East Asia. With me today is one of our students, in fact, our student representative, Suzanne Herrier, and she can sort of introduce herself as well.
Yes, welcome everyone, and thank you, Minna. Yes, I'm Suzanne. I am the class rep this year for our program, and I'm in Glasgow right now, but I joined the program from Canada. And before this program, I did an undergraduate degree in anthropology with a minor in history, though I did take a few years off before coming here, and have a bit of experience working in museums, but wanted to enhance all of that, and here I am.
Okay, and Susan can sort of give some input from the student perspective into
Definitely.
the overall things that I talk about the program. So the program is interdisciplinary, even though it is situated in history of art. We draw from, in addition to history of art, from various disciplines, from law, and also from anthropology, archaeology, museum studies. There is a little bit of overlap with museum studies, but we have our sort of also our own distinctive profile. The international in the title means that we are looking at the collecting history more broadly, not just with a focus on Europe and North America. We are looking at collecting practices, or particularly in Asia. We are also, though we talk mostly about museums and collections in Europe and North America, we talk about collections of different cultures. We don't discuss much of collections of European or North American art unless it's related to North American indigenous people. So that's the kind of a scope. So we don't aim to cover all aspects of the globe. That's not possible with the limited staff that we have available. We kind of, rather than give you a sort of a very broad picture, we try to go deep into a certain aspects and certain parts of the world. So in addition to myself, the program is run by 2 other colleagues, senior lecturer and Dr. Krista Root, who is a specialist in art law, and I'll explain a little bit later the course that she teaches. We also have lecturer Dr. Alan Madden, who teaches the broader history of collecting, and also takes care of and organizes our work placements, but a little bit more about them later. However, even though our teaching is not covering the whole world in your assignments, you are in many cases allowed to choose the corner of the world that you prefer to. But so it's a program about collecting practices and related matters. Now, we have a lot of aims. I think I'm going to just sort of bring a couple of up here, and we can talk at the end about this. And Susan can say how well we manage to deal with this. But one of the aims is to develop the students' knowledge of the core issues and methodological approaches employed in the study of history of collecting and collections. Um, we also address issues around provenance research historically and in the contemporary context. Um, we also encourage close study on works of art, sort of hands-on in the sense that we have museum visits and visits to the storages of museums, um, and sort of the handling sessions. So there is a lot of sort of object-based analysis and teaching on the program. So in a way, the really important thing is to understand the research methodology in these various aspects of collecting studies, and there you learn transferable skills which you can employ in different fields in the art world. So that's kind of the summary of what the program is about overall. Now, if we move into the program structure, you take during your year 6 courses, 3 in semester 1 and 3 in semester 2, and then after that there is the dissertation. In semester 1, your core courses will be the 3 core courses. So in semester 1, you don't have any optional possibilities. And so sort of run quickly through the core courses. The course taught by Dr. Alan Madden is Cultures of Collecting, Collecting Cultures. And as the title kind of hints, it is a course which looks at broadly collecting practices in different parts of the world and historically as well. So you learn about Enlightenment, collecting practices, 19th century, etc. The second core course is Object Biography, which is taught by myself. And on that course, we look at different kinds of objects, paintings, three-dimensional objects, design, etc., and look at how they were made, where they were made, what their trajectories were, how they ended up where they are nowadays, and how the different owners between when they were made and today, how the different owners in between that looked at the objects and what they thought about. Objects have lives, so to speak. We tend to talk about the social lives of things. That course also includes handling sessions. We do a lot of cooperation with our university museum, the Hunterian Museum and Art Gallery. So we have storage visits, and also we visit the galleries and discuss their displays and so forth. The third core course is called Provenance and Restitution. It has a slightly new name. It used to be just called Provenance, but from this autumn onwards, it's Provenance and Restitution. And this is taught by our law specialist, Dr. Krista Root. So it gives you a wide view on the methodologies and issues that are relevant to provenance issues. I should also say that provenance is an important part in the object biography course, but I could probably simplify and say that Krista deals more with the problematic provenance and I deal more with the general. There is also kind of, how should I say, positive provenance that doesn't raise any issues. Now, Susan, do you have any kind of comments on how you felt that all these? Well, in the past year we didn't have the cultures of collecting courses
No.
because we had started, but we had the object biography
Yeah.
and provenance. So maybe you could say something about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say read the description on the course page on the website, because from my perspective, the courses were exactly as I expected them based on that. So I really felt, well, quite pleased actually that, everything was happening exactly as I expected. I will also mention the interdisciplinary aspect of it that you spoke about is absolutely true. I think I can speak for some of my classmates and say that for the most part, we've all felt that we are we are we are being set up not for one specific career, but that each of our career ideas, though they're related, we can take this program and go in any direction with it, and that's amazing. That's a great feeling. um, we did find that, out of the cohort, some of us were more kind of object biographies people, and some of us were more provenance and law people. And we all kind of had our favorites, but yeah, it's just been really what we expected, and very fulfilling.
Yeah, I've noticed that there are the students kind of are divided into group who are more kind
Yeah.
of object based um, and that kind of also comes out because we offer two different dissertation options. I'll talk about
Yes.
those a little
Yeah,
later.
absolutely.
But yeah, so people are more interested in the provenance issues and issues of restitution.
Mhm.
And I think that's the kind of richness of the program, that it's
Yes.
not too narrow, that you get. Because the way I see that, when you learn about objects and their value, you understand them better, and then you can
Mhm.
apply these more kind of law-related methodology of provenance and restitution. So we're trying to
Absolutely.
kind of build a kind of base during the first semester for
Yeah.
future studies. Now, for optional courses, you have first of all the possibility of to choose from two program specific optional courses. One is in so these are in the second semester. One is taught by me again. It's called Collecting and Display, and that focuses on museums to some extent, but more on private collecting. Private collecting practices, those are much less researched than, I mean, there's lots of literature on museums, and University of Glasgow has also a museum studies program. So on that course, I'm more interested in the private collection and how its trajectory into a museum ends, or sometimes private collections are just dispersed. So we are looking at that kinds of issues. We do visit quite a few museums. Glasgow is very uh, well endowed with collections, and one most important, which is now open after a long renovation, is the Burrell collection. So that's one of the major museums, in addition to the Hunterian. Hunterian has started an interesting project which is called Curating Discomfort. So we do look into post-colonial criticism, and you get assignments, for example, relating to the Hunterian displays of curating discomfort. I should have said that, for example, on my courses, I try to create very much practice oriented assignments. For example, on the object biography course, your oral presentation will be an acquisition proposal, that sort of imaginary acquisition proposal. So we are trying to sort of have theoretical and practice-based aspects to the program. So it has kind of to teach you these transferable skills. Then the second course, which is organized and led by Dr. Alan Madden, is the work placement. Now, work placements are offered on competitive basis, which means that we are not guaranteeing that everybody gets a work placement. We try the best we can to have a good selection of them, but sometimes we just don't have enough. So it means that you apply as if you were applying for a job. You have to provide a CV, a cover letter, and letters of motivation, etc. These are usually announced at the end of October, beginning of November, and you have a 2-week period of prepare your application. We have some local work placements, for example, at the McTeers Auction House usually, and the Hunterian Museum, the special collections sometimes, the David Livingstone Birthplace Museum. Then we have sometimes international ones. We have collaboration with the Smithsonian Institution in the Washington, D.C., and those work placements have been recently more focused on online, working with the Smithsonian through online work. But we are looking, we'll see what if we have something new for next academic year. So what we strive to do is to have a diverse variety of possibilities. Then, so I said that you need 3 optional courses. You can choose also, you don't have to choose the program specific ones. You can choose courses from other art history PGT programs. But that's always subject to availability because every program has to prioritize their own students on their own courses. So if there are spaces left, you can also choose one optional course beyond the art history programs. So if you are interested into looking museum studies, archaeology, history, I think one of our students took a Scottish castles course this year in semester 2. We also have a possibility for independent study option, which means that it is basically independent work on a small research project. For that, you are advised to look for appropriate supervisor. The supervisor, depending on your topic, can be from the program staff or from other members of history of art staff, or we've also had sometimes topics which have been supervised by Hunterian staff. So these are, roughly speaking, the options. We don't have yet precise, it's too early to have precise information on what courses in history of art in other programs and also at the university will be running in autumn. Those are usually, everything is usually set up by the end of August. And so when you arrive in September and start choosing your options, then there will be lists available. As a convener, I have tended to offer one-to-one induction sessions. So to talk to you about your career goals and what kind of things you are interested in, to sort of help you in choosing the optional courses that would suit you best from that point of view. I'm not going to, I should have actually said in the beginning that this coming academic year, I'm sharing the convenership with Dr. Krista Root, because I'm on research leave from September 1st to the December 31st. So all semester one. So somebody else will be teaching my object biography course in the first semester. So I think that sort of covers. Susan can say if I forgot something, but about the optional courses, and you could kind of tell you what you were taking and what you thought about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you covered everything. But definitely, again, I really recommend following that link that's been put up in the chat of the History of Art PGT programs, because those other specialties are where most of us this year chose our extra optional courses from. And it, I think, would have helped if, for me especially, to have paid a bit more attention of what those programs are and kind of what classes they offer, even though, as Minna says, you won't know exactly what courses are available until a few months from now. But most of us took, all of us took some kind of optional courses. I ended up doing my optional courses in the technical art history PGT, and I'd say there's kind of there's two benefits, I think, to this option of being able to take a course that's outside our specialty but still within the art history PGT sphere, which is that, first of all, we got to know people that were taking similar programs to ours but slightly different, and make friends with people outside of our small cohort, which was awesome. It's always great to build your social sphere when you're away from home. And also, just as we've been discussing before, it's just an extra opportunity for that interdisciplinary approach to the program. So in taking the technical art history, I learned a lot about modern art, contemporary art, conservation, things that very relevant to what I was learning in our core courses, but and very much of interest to me, but just slightly outside to kind of broaden my sphere of knowledge. Several of our cohort took, a course in art history, so a bit more of a traditional art history course to supplement our core courses, which are a bit more, bit different. and absolutely, some of our cohort did take a course in archaeology. I think one of my classmates this semester took her option in, I can't remember if it was criminology or law, but related to art crimes, that really supplemented what she'd learned in the provenance course. So it's just a great opportunity, I think, getting to take that extra course. Now, in terms of the work placement, I think we did pretty well this semester. Of almost everyone got a placement who applied, and everyone's been overall pretty happy with their placements. It's been an awesome opportunity to get to know Glasgow a bit better, because we're interacting with staff and volunteers at museums around the city. Mine ended up being at the David Livingstone Birthplace Museum, which was a museum I didn't even know about before we got the list of optional placements. And it was a very rewarding experience. Got to meet a lot of people, see how things are done in museums that are kind of outside my realm and my experience. I will say, with the work placement, they're a lot of work. You're putting in a lot of hours in the kind of 10 weeks that it runs for at the museum, working on whatever project it is that you're doing for them. And there are then assignments on top of that about your placement. And yeah, so it's not something that you want to sign up for because you think it'll be the easy way out. It absolutely was a lot of work, but worth it for me. So you just have to decide if it's worth it for you. And was there anything else I was going to say about the optional courses? Yeah, so I did take collecting and display, and I don't know if you're changing the course at all. It's it's probably it's probably my favorite. That one's a hard one, but I really enjoyed it, and getting to do the museum visits, getting to do some handling sessions at the Huntarian was just a great opportunity. So if you know that that's an area that you want to pursue, I think that's a really great option as well. Um, yeah. That's yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say about that.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Susan. I'm really glad you like. Well, I revamped my course
Oh.
in order to fit fit more museum visits in it, and so I think
Mhm.
I enjoyed it more myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that might be only also because after 2 years of the pandemic and not being able to go anywhere, it was really nice to
Yes.
be where you want to be, where
Yep.
you with objects. So
Yep.
that's kind of bonus of that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could also mention that if you go onto the University of Glasgow website, you can type in the search box course catalog,
Mhm.
and that will take you into the university course catalog, which has all the subjects and their courses, and then you choose history of art on the list, and you get to all history of art courses, and you should look at level 5. But remember that not all courses are offered every year. There is a lot of courses that are there but are not necessarily
Mhm.
offered. But that's a place where to look at. For example, the course descriptions of our core courses.
Yeah.
Except that I noticed that the cultures of collecting is not there yet because this is for the past year, and it wasn't running this past year, so that's not. But you'll find at least object biography, collecting and display, and provenance courses there, and you can check what they are, kind of what the aims are, and so forth.
Mhm.
Assessments. Usually, assessment is combined from oral presentations plus an essay. That's the most common, but there may be maybe variations in different subjects. So then, after you've done all these 6 courses and been really hectically, trying to finish your essays, etc. In January, you already are expected to start thinking of your dissertation. You will be asked first to do an initial proposal where you kind of bring out your ideas. Some people can, I say that give some ideas. Don't hesitate. Give 2 ideas if you have 2 ideas. The important thing is to get the process going. And
Mhm.
then in the end of March, towards the end of March, we ask for the formal proposal after you've had your sort of preliminary discussions with the supervisor you've been assigned to. So for dissertation, we offer 2 options. There is the kind of sort of what I call the regular research dissertation, um, for which you choose a topic and a methodology and sort of write a research dissertation. But we have now also experimented with another type of dissertation, which is called the exhibition catalog dissertation. That is an imaginary exhibition that you will be kind of planning. You will be asked to choose about sort of 15 artworks that you catalog properly. So it has a catalog section like a proper exhibition catalog. But then it has the first section is a sort of a introduction to the theme of your exhibition. It can, depending on the topic, it gives historical background and contextualizes the objects that form your exhibition. But even though it's imaginary, we expect that it is a realistic plan. So don't try to make an exhibition that doesn't work as an exhibition. If your topic doesn't sort of naturally fit into the exhibition catalog dissertation, then you better just do the regular research dissertation. Some topics can be made into exhibition, some can't. And if you choose the exhibition catalog dissertation, you also need to take the collecting and display course, because that has material and sessions which relate to making an exhibition and developing an exhibition. So in that case, you will have 4 core courses if you choose the exhibition catalog dissertation. Now, Susan, chosen the exhibition catalog. Tell me
Yes.
about your topic and how you.
Sure. Yeah. So because this program had a non-traditional format for dissertation as an option is a big reason why I chose this program, actually chose to apply in the first place. I love the opportunity to do something a bit more creative, a bit more, getting to do some design in there as well as the bulk of the writing. Several of my classmates don't, though, so don't feel like that's that you kind of are pressured to do it just because this is the program you chose. It's not the right fit for everyone, but it definitely was the right fit for me. So I've chosen to do the exhibit catalog. My subject is the material culture related to mourning, and I've chosen to focus on the kind of multiculturalism within Canada. So that's from an international context perspective, is trying to kind of understand cultures of collecting within a Western place, but multiple communities who live close to each other. I guess you'll probably, Minna, talk about the symposium in a second, but we just wrapped that up. So we are very much in dissertation writing mode now. And as Minna said, yes, you really need to start working on it and planning and doing readings and figuring out your topic in January, and kind of starting work on it. So keep that in mind too as you're choosing courses for second semester, because that adds a bit of extra work, of course, because you're working on that, you're working on your proposals, preparing for the symposium. Yeah, I just think that this is just a really cool opportunity that this program offers a alternative format, and it's a great opportunity for people like me who want to do something a little bit different. So yeah.
Well, it still requires sound research. That's
Yes.
not the thing that you're going to kind of escape.
No. And like still a very high word count of more traditional formatted dissertation. You just get to also do the creative part of putting together an imaginary exhibit.
Yeah, and I think it fits with our program that
Yeah.
because there are more theoretical aspects
Mhm.
and then more practical aspects about it, and we've noticed in the past that students go into these two groups, and it's also richness in the program
Yeah.
that the students kind of can talk with each other and sort
Mhm.
of talk about different things. But yes, as Suzanne said, don't be don't think that you have to choose it. No, 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 not at all. Like, for example, the previous year, we had only one student to sign up for the exhibition catalog dissertation.
Really?
This year it's been a bit more popular,
Yeah.
but it varies.
Yeah.
Every year is different.
Mhm.
So, which is the richness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes, the PG symposium, which was last week from the 2nd to 4th of May. It always falls on the first week of May. So if you are planning to come and take the program, already mark that week in your calendar. You are expected to be and take part in this 3-day symposium. It covers not only all the PGT programs we have in history of art, but also the PGR or PhD students will be presenting their research. So it's an interesting opportunity to learn what other people do in different levels. It's also good for those who might be thinking about doing a PhD
Mhm.
afterwards to get an idea what kind of topics and what level the research is expected to be. So in the UK, PhDs take 3 years plus there's a possibility for a fourth one. So you will also see PhD students at different
Mhm.
phase of their research. So some are beginners, some are sort of finishing and are sort of very much into their topic already. So there's a great variety. So we have. So Suzanne mentioned technical art history, but we have this sort of a general art history PGT program. We have dress and textile history as well, but they tend to be so completely booked that it's very rare that you can take their courses. However, you can in the PT symposium see what kind of
Mhm.
projects the students do. So that gives you sort of a good idea of the variety and helps you to also to network, to talk to people from different backgrounds. It's also meant to kind of be a practical exercise about symposium and conference behavior.
Mhm.
So we have a proper conference program with parallel sessions. We have a keynote speaker on one of the evenings. Your presentations are timed as if in a real conference, etc. You are created into these sessions and thematic sessions and etc. So that's also a kind of a learning skills
Mhm.
thing.
Yep, very much
How,
so.
how did you feel about that experience?
Um, it was the symposium was interesting because, as you say, it felt very much like a professional conference, that I've been to before for museum organizations. Um, very, yeah, I thought was very well run this year. Everything was on time, everything happened as it should. Very, very good opportunity to practice being in that sort of professional setting. Um, but it also was less intimidating than we'd kind of built up over the year. So I think a lot of us were quite relieved when we got there on the first day. and it was a slightly smaller room than we'd been anticipating. It was a lot. I mean, it's mostly people we'd gotten to know already through the semester. All of the professors that were there were very supportive, very encouraging, asked a lot of really thoughtful questions. I mean, the students also asked a lot of really thoughtful questions. It was, yeah, a really supportive and much less scary thing than we'd been anticipating. But, and it was awesome to get to see presentations from students outside of our own program. Like you mentioned, the dress and textile history is a subject that, for instance, I'm very interested in, but because of how full their program is, wasn't able to take any of their courses. So then getting to listen to several of their presentations and see what areas, what interesting areas they were all studying was a really cool opportunity. And just to kind of get to chat with people that you'd seen around but hadn't really gotten to know. It's yeah, it was a very positive experience. For the work placement, actually, we also did a poster presentation, which was another great opportunity to kind of have some experience and practice at a very professional and official style poster exhibit. Well, not really a exhibit. Well, we were calling it a poster presentation, but and same thing with that, because most of the programs in the PGT art history were participating in the work placement. Same thing, you got to see kind of what museums, galleries, projects, other students from other programs were working on, get to know people. So all of those opportunities are really positive. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for adding the poster thing. I forgot.
Yeah, I
You
forgot about
totally,
that too.
that serves the same function as
Exactly.
learning to kind of to behave in these instances where you deliver and show your research in the real world.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of Susan can talk about a little bit of student life, but before we go to that, so the induction week starts 11th of September on Monday. So I'll won't be present there. I'll be going to a conference in Ljubljana then. But my colleagues Krista Ruud and Alan Madden will be taking you kind of welcoming you to the study and so forth. The
And they are
teachings,
both very welcoming, so
yeah, I think we are quite welcoming group.
I think so.
And the teaching starts the following week. The core courses run, that has been already decided unless somebody messes things up, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So for 11 weeks from that. So that's basically about the program content. But I thought that it would be great if Susan, you could say something about the student point of view, practicalities, arriving in Glasgow, living in Glasgow, etc., etc.
Absolutely. And while I kind of talk about that a bit, if you have questions, we're happy to answer them. So please post those. Yeah, so more of the student life stuff. Glasgow, I'll start there, is great. I think it's an easy place to come to if you are from somewhere else. It is super friendly. I think it feels very safe, although I don't have statistics on that. It's got a great kind of like fun vibe, fun nightlife. The neighborhood that the university in is gorgeous. Just a lot of stuff to do, a lot of arts and culture. So if you're worried about that, I really think Glasgow's a great place. The university has also been, I mean, first of all, it's the buildings are all beautiful. And it's been also very welcoming. Pretty easy to get, help with things. Although I will say, generally speaking, the is it the Student Services Inquiry team is a bit more helpful than the international student um, help people. I don't know what they're called, the international student services. Um, I assume just because they kind of the student services inquiry people just know the answers to everything. um, and I've always felt comfortable reaching out and asking for help figuring things out. That said, though, the all of the professors have been extremely helpful, even if it's outside of their wheelhouse. Like, I'm an international student and I don't know where things are. I don't know how to do something. Your profs will always help you too. So that's all been super positive. University facilities. Everything in that department has been great. The library is enormous and a bit busy, especially during studying time. But I don't know if you may already have seen on the website, they list kind of the buildings that are best for studying and have like a rating of how busy they are, which is super helpful also. So you kind of know where not to bother with today. And yeah, tons of, oh, I will also say, if you can help it, don't miss the orientation week. That was awesome. It was really great to do some of the few induction meetings that we had to kind of get to know things. The campus is all of the societies and the clubs are advertising that week. There's, free food, free music on campus, events like that, which is a lot of fun. I didn't end up joining any societies or clubs, but I know a lot of people who have, and there are so many choices. So, like, whatever you're into, there is a club for it. Yeah, in terms of the more kind of arriving, getting settled, this year, and it might be different next year, we had a bit of a housing shortage in Glasgow this year in general. So finding housing was a bit stressful for lots of people. The like campus housing filled up, and then people who had hoped to be able to have on campus housing weren't able to. But we all figured it out. The university was, from what I know, pretty helpful with that, with students who didn't end up getting housing. The university, would follow up a few weeks later and say, actually, okay, something's come available. I've been into a few. I'm just renting a flat that I just found independently. Through the letting agencies. So you just kind of have to go to the websites of all the letting agencies and apply. But I've been inside a few of the housing, the campus housing, and it's student housing, but like fine, like perfectly fine. Yeah. And yeah, I would say, especially if you're coming from abroad, start early with your visa application, start early with with looking for housing, apply to the Glasgow University housing right away. Just like really be on top of that stuff. That'll uh, should save you a bit of stress right at the end. um, but yeah, Glasgow's great. Yeah. And an hour by train to Edinburgh. We're an hour by train to the ocean. It's a nice kind of central place. And yeah, I really don't have anything bad to say about it.
Glasgow has also a lot of nice parks. That's
And all, yes, lovely parks. Yeah.
that's that's also a really nice thing about Glasgow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe a bit rainy, but
Yes.
that's to be expected.
Just keep an umbrella.
Yeah,
Well, it's
bring your
not always
umbrella.
used because the wind goes sideways.
Yeah, just a little
Anyway,
bit. Um, but no, the
okay.
parks, yeah, you're right, lovely.
I think we are sort of been
Hmm.
chatting about a lot. So happy to answer any questions or take comments. There are still a few minutes left
Hmm.
of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing any in the chat.
Don't be surprised if people talk to you on bus stops and on
Yeah.
buses.
Yeah.
Glasgow people are friendly. That's what I kind of when I
Yeah.
arrived in 2012. So wow, and it's not,
Um,
and they, it's not all madmen.
no.
So,
Yeah, everyone's really friendly. Like if you ever need directions, you just look confused for a few seconds and someone will offer to help you.
yeah, the university is the main building, and the main campus is situated in what we call the West End of Glasgow. So um, it's a very nice area also for eating and
Yeah.
shopping. Glasgow in general is a university city. There are other universities and colleges.
Hmm.
There are a lot of students in various parts of the city. So that's also important. And like you said, Edinburgh is near. It's actually less than an hour by train.
Sure is. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so we kind of think of these as the kind of twin cities.
Mhm.
They're the same. It's nice to go to museums and places in
Mhm.
Edinburgh, and it's so easy. And there
Yeah.
are a lot of other places to go to as well. So check out the course catalog to find out more about the courses that I've explained, and we hope that this has been an inspiring discussion. That
Mhm.
uh, looking forward to welcoming you in September.